Hello everyone, Madison here and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'll be talking to you guys about NPLQ. Again, I know there's a few new subscribers, so I do apologise for not uploading for 2 weeks straight. I was suffering from COVID, really. And there's not much to say. And yeah, I'm back better now. And yeah, let's get into it. So when I say I'm talking about like NPLQ, I'm just recapping a few of the basics and everything. And yeah, so I've had a few people reach out to me about NPLQ. And so I'm going off my personal experiences and what it was like for me, and hopefully they can benefit you guys who are about to do your NPLQ. So NPLQ means National Pool Lifeguarding Qualification. There we go. And it's split into, I would say, like 3 categories in a sense. I split it into three categories. We have the poolside practical, so like all your time swims, vice grips, rescues, and like sort of like defense blocks. We have your like dry practical, so that's like your secondary surveys, your slings, bandages, and CPR kind of links between both poolside and dry. I'll get more into that. And then you have your theory, so that is like, I get self-explanatory, your theory right inside. So like the questions and answers. So with the theory, I'll go through the theory first. They will go through every single step and every single section in your lifeguarding manual that you'll get. And they'll go into much detail about it. They'll ask you if you have any questions about it, then they'll obviously answer. And yeah, so you have 2 pieces of paper. So one with the questions on, and well, it's technically 2 pieces of paper, but just one's stapled to make it look like one. There's 3 pieces of paper stapled together, so that's like your question sheet. And then you have another one which is your answer sheet. The questions, so there's again 3 sheets, section 1, section 2, then section 3. Then with the answer sheet, again there's a table for section 1, a table for section 2, and a table for section 3. And say for example with section 1 there are 15 questions. There'll be 15 rows of A, B, C. And what you've got to do is, say for example, for question 1, it will match up with row 1, the first lot of ABC, and you read the question, obviously, and then it has 3 answers, again labelled A, B and C, and then whatever one you think is correct, you circle. Say for example you think letter B is correct, you circle B on your answer sheet, not on the question sheet. And yeah, so for me personally, and for the people I was with, section 2 was very easy. So yeah, unfortunately you can't take your manual in the exam because it's cheating otherwise. But yeah, your dry side practical. So that's like you. When I say it's CPR, you have like these sort of dummies, and you practice CPR rescue breaths on them. You also do a secondary survey as well. So like that's making sure that a person isn't fully injured. And you have to do stuff like bandages and everything. So if someone has like a nosebleed, what would you do? Near enough. And slings, so that self-explanatory. If someone has a broken arm, you sort out their sling. You also practice like the recovery position as well. You practice use of a defib. So, but that is, to go through it, that is like an electric shock system that jolts the heart, lungs into working again. Fingers crossed it works. But yeah. And then you have your poolside practical. So that's your time swims, vice grips, rescues, the lot. With time swims, most people get confused on. Well, most people get confused. You cannot wear goggles for your poolside training. Excuse me, because you simply won't have time to put some goggles on if you are in an actual scenario. And with your time swims, you swim with the torpedo boy for your 65-second swim. You swim out to the casualty. You ask them to grab the torpedo boy, and then, so it's a 20-metre swim to the casualty, then you have to tow the casualty all the way back. And then with your 45-second swim, you go to the casualty, but you have to tow with your hand like that, so like a chin and arm tow, but you only have to tow them 10 metres back. So again, back the way you came, because if it's like an Olympic swim, if it's like a 25-metre swimming pool, I train in a 25-metre swimming pool, and so I wouldn't have space to then go. So if I was swimming that way, getting the casualty, I wouldn't then have any room to carry on swimming, so I'd have to get the casualty and tow them back. Vice grip, you go from the shallow end, but because with vice grips, head grips and everything, because they are used if they are performed if you have a spinal injury, you do not jump in, you slide in, because if the water ripples, you could damage the spine even more. And again, same with like a rescue board, they are used for a spinal injury, again to keep the person straight as you possibly can without interfering with like the spinal injury. And you have like defense blocks, because there are going to be some people who try and grab onto you whilst trying to save themselves, so they will try and push you down as like their sort of like float. So a defense block, you go under, then up. They grab the torpedo boy whilst you reel them in, and, well, not reel them in, but tow them in. And then you have your shallow end rescues, so that's sort of like a reach, throw, and wade in. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but you sort of like, with the reach, you have the torpedo boy, and if they're in reaching distance, they'll grab the torpedo boy, then you gently pull them in. And with a throw, so the torpedo boy has a strap. You hold the strap whilst, and then you throw the actual torpedo boy out, and then hopefully the casualty catches the torpedo boy. Hopefully you've spoken loud enough for them to hear, and then you pull them in. And then with a wade in, you have to get in, torpedo boy in, and then they'll put their arm around you. You'll put your arm around them just to like hold them up, and then you walk in. And then when you get them out the pool, make sure they're facing away from the pool because it may cause trauma. It's also like, going back to the defence block, that's most commonly used when they're conscious but they've swam too far out. So evidently if they're flapping and waving their arms about, that's when you'll use your defence block, because they think that you're their float because you are a lifeguard. What else? With like the vice grip, head splint and whatnot, try and talk to them. If they're unresponsive, it's sort of try and be like, right, we're almost there, almost out, and sort of calming as well. When you're doing a rescue board, make sure, like, again, you're interacting with them, asking them how it happened, who they're with, and everything, and making sure, like, you know, they're okay other than said spinal injury. That's the same with all types of rescues. Obviously with time swims you won't have enough time to do it, but after you got them in, make sure they're okay. And yeah, when they're unconscious, if you're doing like your 45-second time swim, they'll be head down in the water, so you'll swim up to them, so their head is here facing you, so they'll be face down, and then you, depending on which way you do it, like if you turn them to the right or to the left, I turn them to the left. I would put my left hand on their right shoulder, my right hand underneath their left shoulder like that, then I'll flip them over like that. And then it's the same if you're turning them over the other side, just opposite. Your right hand on their left shoulder, your left hand underneath their right shoulder, you flip them over. So I do it that way. Do I? Yeah. It's been a long time since I've done it. And yeah, so I would recommend like not wearing dangly earrings when you're doing this as well, and make sure you're not wearing a like belly piercing or any dangly piercings, because even when you're training or an actual lifeguard, because if a say for example if you had like small little hoops in, casualty's finger could go through the hoop, then rip it out your ear, and that makes 2 casualties, and that's not very nice to deal with anyway. One casualty is enough. And yeah, so hopefully that's enough information. Again, let me know on like Instagram, Facebook or Snapchat if you have any more questions. on Snapchat. Actually, no, don't let me know on Snapchat, because there is a likelihood that I won't respond on Snapchat due to my Snapchat playing up at the moment. So your best bet is to get hold of me on Instagram if you have any more NPLQ questions. And yeah, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll probably make a YouTube video about it if I haven't already answered the question in a YouTube video. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Sorry for not uploading for 2 weeks. Don't know if I mentioned before, haven't uploaded for 2 weeks due to having COVID. But yeah, that's it for today's video. You guys know, well, you guys should know what to do by now. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I shall catch you later. Bye.